Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. And we have a special, special day today. I was able to finally get this amazing, iconic musician, writer, entrepreneur to agree to come on to True House Stories. But I want to show this first as so that you can see this. He is what I would say the founding member, one of the founding members, along with his brother that he holds a legacy for, Ronald Khalil Bell. And check this out. This is the wonderful part about how talented and how amazing this man and this group is, Kool the Gang. His name is Robert Kool Bell. Those who know him, Kool, okay? They have had over 80 million albums worldwide and influenced the music of generations with over 25 top 10 R&B hits, 9 top 10 pop hits, and 31 gold and platinum albums. Okay? So, welcome to True House Stories. My name is Lenny Fontana, and this week we're bringing up the iconic Robert Kool Bell. Thank you, Mr. Kool, for coming on. And we appreciate your time because I know you're very busy. And of course, we are humongous fans of what you do. And I cannot lie, I've been watching Kool TV, the cartoon thing that you guys on YouTube, which I think is absolutely amazing. And the tidbits we've learned about behind the scenes, it's just incredible to see, to know that almost, let's see, a band that started in 1964 is almost 60 years coming up together. I don't know people alive that long or marriages that stayed together that long, but that is a testament. And I owe it to you guys and to set those standards and to keep pushing the envelope year after year. So enough of me talking. How are you doing?
I'm doing just wonderful. I was just listening to you, and I was thinking about it. Next year, we'll be 60 years. When you go back, we started off at the Jazzy Acts, the Soul Town Band, Kool and the Flames, and then Kool and the Gang. So next year will be 60 years. I can have another big celebration. But I've been great, man. We've been pretty busy last year, and the tail part of last year, we played for the Night of the Proms, which is with the German Philharmonic Orchestra. And we did 18 shows. We did 2 in Belgium, and the rest was in Germany. And from there, we went to Cairo, Egypt. And we did a show in front of the pyramids. And we're going to head back that way this year also, to go back to the Great Pyramids. So, and I guess, as you know, we have a new single. This came out for almost about a month ago. It's called Let's Party.
Let's party, right?
Let's party. Hey, make sure you have your nice cold glass of the cool champagne while you're partying.
Let me show everybody that. While you're doing that, before we get here, this man is pushing. This is his champagne, Le Kool. Okay, everyone? And he hooked up with, if I remember correctly, the French, one of the top guys in the vineyard business in France, Paul Berthelot. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was the Berthelot family. Up in Ypres. Ypres is one of the most popular villages for Champagne. It's also Reims, and then you have Champagne County. So yeah, we got together about 5 years ago. What happened was I was on tour about that time, and we had about 20 sold out shows. So the promoter came to me and said, listen, I'm doing the champagne on the late Barry White and the Barry White lookalike, and one of the Bee Gees. He said, would you like to sell champagne on this tour? So I said, well, I don't know if I want to do that because my fans are going to want T-shirts and caps, after the concert. So I said, but what I would like to do is get on the shelves. So he looked at me and surprised. I said, yeah, I want to be on the shelves. No, I want to be on the shelves like Dom Perignon and Cristal, Dom Renard, Vu Picot. So it took him by surprise. And then I went on, came up with the name, Le Kool Champagne. And then I was able to cut a deal up in Epinay with the Berthelot family. And we came out with the Kool Champagne. Now, this year we feel it'll be one of our better years. We got pushed back for a couple of years, not only Champagne, but Kool the Gang, for COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're just getting back out there this year. We're very happy what we're going to do this year with the Champagne. So that's the Kool Champagne story.
That's cool, dude. Wow. But I'm like that you actually said, you know what? We know our fans, but we want to be on the shelves. That to me is class. And I'm going to presume you have that class because I see how you dress. I see how you entertain. You are what we say, a true class act in every way. You know?
Well, I'm thankful, to you guys, True House, and what you're doing, Benny, and the fact that all the things we have done over the years. Very first record came out in 1969. It was called Kool the Gang. Right before that, we had Kool and the Flames. And we didn't want to have a problem with the Godfather, with James Brown.
Did you really think you were going to have an issue with him on that?
I don't know. But we wanted to, again, he had Flame, and yes. I had Kool and the Flame, but I figured Gang might be better. Our manager at that time, producer Gene Ray, said, why don't you guys just call yourself Kool and the Gang? Because the music, see, when we were with the Soultown Band, Soultown was trying to be like Motown, And we were the Soultown Band, so they have like two shows a month. And we were the backup band. We had to learn all these songs from Motown artists. And so from that point, we moved on to Kool and the Flames. And we played a lot of James Brown. We played, different people from the Soultown Review with this one guy, he called himself Tiny Tim. He was like a little James Brown. So we figured, let's go with the Gang. And that's when it started, in 1969. So,
but I'm going to go back a little bit before that to when you and your brother came to live in Jersey City. And I know you're from Youngstown originally, right? Youngstown, Ohio?
Youngstown, Ohio.
Right. So I'm assuming that from what I've seen and heard at the time in the 60s, Jersey City was a bit rough at that time. So
yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit what went on before you guys created this band? Like what life was like for you two growing up?
Well, when we left Youngstown around 1960, I noticed that in the neighborhood, it was a little rough neighborhood. And I remember my mother sending me to the store. At that time, it was called Lucy Bread, cost 25 cents. So I went to the store, and these two guys walked up to me and said, give me your money. I said, I'm a country boy from Youngstown. What?
Right.
My quarter.
That's right. It was your money, but 25 cents is a lot of money back then.
And so I told my mother, hey, they took the quarter. Couldn't get the bill, huh? What? So I said, now, either they're going to keep taking my money or I'm going to have to find a way to deal with Jersey City.
Right.
So it was this movie that came on called Tamango. And it was with Dorothy Dandridge. And he was a rebellious slave coming on the ship. If you see the movie or the story, I said, I like that guy. So I changed my name at that time first to Tamango. And those two guys that took my money, I ended up joining them. And then we ended up creating young gangster guy, called the Imperial Lords. I found myself becoming the president of the Imperial Lords with the name Tomato. I know they're gonna be a cool young.
So wait, hang on. So from a country boy, he said, "Yo, you ain't touching my stuff." To now you're the president of this gang.
The Imperial Lords. Yeah.
Wow. Did you have to beat some? I was gonna say squabble. Did you? Was there fighting going on?
No, I was pretty good with my hands. My father, featherweight, he was top 5 featherweight. Bobby Bell.
Right.
My uncle Tommy Bell was a middleweight. Tommy Bell beat Sugar Ray, but they took the fight away from him because back then you had to knock the champ out. If you go study that, Google that, he beat Sugar Ray on points.
Oh wow.
So I knew a little bit. I knew a little bit about how to use my hands. I was a country boy, but I knew how to defend myself.
You knew. So from there, you became the president. You had all these people following you guys.
Yeah. And then things moved on. I said there was another guy at the projects back in the day, and he called himself Kool. And he spelled it with a C. I said, "Hey, I like that name." So I changed my name from Tomago to Kool, and I spelled it with a K. I knowing that was starting the development of the whole Kool the Gang thing, and we used to work and play at the Jazzy Acts and different gigs, and things started to develop. So I slowly kind of slid out of the street thing.
Thank God. Thank God, because otherwise we wouldn't have Kool the Gang as we know it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, yeah. But I was kind of protection for my family, my brother, because they know they would mess with my family if they had to mess with me. And then I had all those guys behind me, the same guy that took my quarter. So that's that story. It's in there, those vignettes that you see.
Yeah, I saw it. I was impressed. You guys did a great job.
Yeah.
You did
so we moved on from that and came out with our first record, like I said, in 1969, with Kool the Gang. It was a top 40 hit. We didn't think that our first record would be a hit. But after that, a lot of the other records were just territorial sort of hits, like Funky Man, Funky Granny, Let the Music Take Your Mind.
Right.
Some of the other tracks that we did. But it wasn't until around 1973, I believe it was, or 1973, record company came to us and said, "Listen, you guys need a producer." We said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you need a producer." This guy that just came out with this hit, So Makusa, by Mongo DeBongo, Obango. He said, "I want to introduce you to this guy and work with you guys."
Right.
So we met with him one time, and we weren't feeling it. So what we did, we went into a studio called Baggies down near the Village in New York.
Right.
Went in there around 8 o'clock in the morning. And we came out of there, we had created funky stuff, Hollywood swinging, and jungle boogie. We created all those songs that day because our backs was against the wall. And so the record company didn't give us any problems anymore after that.
Was it because De-Lite was following what was going on with Frankie Crocker playing the Soma Cosa on the radio at that time?
It was a big record.
Oh, yeah. Huge, right?
Yeah, I think the De-Lite record was looking at all of that. But when we turned it around, Frankie Crocker ended up playing Hollywood swinging. He should call himself Hollywood Frankie Crocker.
Big time.
Yeah.
Radio ain't on unless Frankie Crocker's on. Oh, New York City, 107.5 WBLS. I mean, I remember his shows, his drive time show. I remember him talking about the nightclubs. I remember him talking about you guys. He was not only did breaking those records, became a huge fan of you guys too, because he was always breaking your records first. If anybody had that power, he had the power.
Yeah.
So who would be the spokesman? I know, because I see you're like the president of this, and you pretty much take the bull by the horns, dealing with like De-Lite. I know Gene Red was your producer and manager at the time, at
Yeah.
that time as well. Even during that time of Hollywood Swinging and that, was he still working with you?
Oh, he came after. Gene Red was there when we changed the name from Kool and the Flames to Kool the Gang. He was one of the ones that told us, hey, why don't you just call yourself Kool the Gang? And Gene Red was involved in our very first album, very first Kool the Gang.
Right.
We had songs like Chocolate Buttermilk, Raw Hamburgers. We even covered a Temptation song called Since I Lost My Baby in that album. Yeah, but Gene Red was he was very influential, I would say, and very positive in terms of how we moved on.
Let me show everybody the picture of the band in 1970. That's the band.
Yeah, that was it back then. That was it.
Can you tell us, everybody, that at that time who was with you?
Well, in this picture here, you got Alton Nash. He came a little later. He wasn't in the very beginning. Trombones. You got Charles Smith. It's my brother Khalees.
Yep.
Well, you got George Brown, Spike Mickens. You got D.T. Thomas. And you have me there in the middle there.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah. So Alton Nash was with us. After Alton Nash came Clifford Adams. Clifford Adams became our trombone player after Alton Nash.
Now, as we move along, because you are now get a taste of the first album with a big hit, and then you're on De-Lite as well, and this is the thing that people always wonder in those days. You're dealing with Italian mafia and you're dealing with the Jewish mafia in the record business. Were you directly involved, or was the management handling that stuff for you guys at that time? Because you always hear crazy stories of, hey, sign here, and then artists didn't get paid. All kinds of crazy stuff was going on in those days.
Well, at that time with Gene Red, in the beginning, Gene Red had a company called Red Coach Records. And Gene had signed us to Red Coach first. And then when he made the deal with De-Lite, it became De-Lite Records. And a little pressure on Gene, because the guys wanted to kind of take over, as we were moving up. And of course, you have, like you said, you have the Jewish mafia and Italian mafia, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we made it through all of that, at that time. But De-Lite Records had a lot of good connections in terms of, what the word was, getting your record played.
Oh, sure. They called that, we know what that word is called, payola.
Yeah.
DJs taking care of certain things to make things. Not to say that the product isn't amazing, because the product is amazing that you guys put out. It's not like it's, sometimes you hear records, and this too as a writer and producer yourself, you go, oh God, no. What the hell are they hearing this? But everybody's got a different set of ears, or sometimes you always ask the question, who did they pay to get that to go that way? But in your case, your music was super hot. I mean, like, this album here, where you got Hollywood Swinging, Jungle Boogie, funky stuff, those 3 songs, and not even the other one, Summer Madness, already.
Yeah. That's the one I was talking about. The one we got the pressure from the record company.
Yeah.
Became, Wild and Peaceful, and with those songs. And the B-side was almost 9 minutes long. We just kind of stretched out and having fun with our jazz shots. The B-side of Wild and Peaceful.
And the great game. Right. And the thing is, you have different generations that follow you. Some of them, younger people, know the Celebration era and later. Some of us know that era and revere that era is so important to us, the 70s, and then you have some that remember when you just started in 69. That's a little before me remembering, but I know, like how the hell do you go from funky stuff, Hollywood swinging, which to me sounds like an LA record because of the horn section when you listen to it, to Summer Madness, which is like a jazz fusion track, completely two different. It was half the band into jazz and half the band into like current sound. I mean,
Well, yes, you can say that to a degree. Light of Worlds was the next album after, of course, Wild Peaceful. And there was a song on Light of Worlds called You Don't Have to Change. And my brother was listening to that song one night in the studio, House of Music. And the vamp of You Don't Have to Change, he listened to that. He said, hey, that's another song. He had just got that ARC synthesizer.
oh, wow.
2600. And he's out there at 4 a.m. instead of soloing on the vamp. Next day, he said, well, hey guys, listen to this. So Spike Mickens, who wrote the song, You Don't Have to Change, he said, oh, that sounds great. So, got another record. We're going to call it, it's called Summer Madness. It happened in the summer, so let's call it Summer Madness. And that was the word for Summer Madness. Not knowing what that song was going to be. If you look at from the Rocky movie, they played Summer Madness. He was getting ready to have that fight that next day.
Yep.
And that's Will Smith. Summertime. Took him platinum. #1 record. Launched him into the movie business.
Yeah. Now talk about syncing and sampling.
Yeah. Summertime. Was back in Summertime.
Here's something that I've been thinking to ask you, and this goes back 20 years ago. There was producers that were telling me they had sampled Open Sesame on the, in the dance music arena. And they said they sent it over to the publishers, I guess, of you guys. And they were responded, we don't clear samples. Do you feel that it's important to clear these type of samples? Or do you feel like, you take it a case by case basis? Because a lot of people don't understand that some of these records they're hearing with these new artists are your records let's put it like this, changed and evolved into a new record, but the core is you in a sense. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
Well, in the beginning, a lot was going on, but we wasn't paying close attention to that until a little later. And we kept hearing Horn Lines and Nixon. So I said to myself, well, we got to put somebody on sample patrol. And it wasn't until, I think President Biden cleared the right in Washington where anybody sample your record, they have to pay. So the record companies then took that position. They heard somebody sample, they went after you.
I know.
Now you had to negotiate sample. And if you were another record company, you're going to make sure that you have sample clearance.
Correct.
And that's when we started looking at everything.
Yeah, because, like, for example, Stevie Wonder, it's right away a no with him, unless it's a personal friend. He's like, no way. He won't clear samples. He said it totally many times. And I see sometimes your records are getting sampled from some of the hip hop guys, and I've seen them to become huge hits over the years. And I just was always curious how you felt as a writer, and it's your baby, basically. You guys created this stuff, how it's used.
Well, it kind of started with in hip hop in terms of samples, because the earlier days before JT joined the band and before we did the whole Ladies Night project and on and on and on in the 80s, we didn't really have lead singer at the time. We had, I call it gang scene, Hollywood swing, everybody singing together, jungle boogie, funky stuff. But at that time, so I think a lot of the hip hop artists listened to it and they said, well, nothing in the way. I don't hear no lead vocals. Let me grab that guitar part. I like that drum beat. Yeah, that sounds good. And that started creating that That's why and I find over the years, a lot of guys from the hip hop world say, man, you guys are what opened the door for us, man, because them tracks that y'all was doing. Like, for instance, I'm at the Apollo Theater.
Right.
And at that time, his name was Puffy. He came to me. He said, "You know what?" He said, "I'm gonna make a big record for you." I said, "Oh, okay."
All right.
So he went and got Hollywood Swinging, did it over, and him and Mace got together and did Bad, 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 Bad Boy or Bad Girl, whoever it was.
Yeah.
Big record. So people constantly was listening to what we do and got ideas and did this and did that. And like I said, publishing company and BMI and et cetera, the record company, they started following that. And that's what happened. Because if you listen to Mr. James Brown,
yeah. Oh my God, he's been sampled like crazy.
Yeah. Well, they said, well, Kool the Gang is one of the number one sample bands in the world. He said, no, Kool the Gang is number 2. I'm number 1.
But I have to say, you guys have been sampled crazily.
Yeah.
It's the amount of samples you hear on records. And I picked them up. I know you would too, because you know your horn lines, you know your bass lines, you know that stuff, the signature sound.
Right.
It's just but speaking from a newer producer from that worked through the 80s into the 90s, it was the coolest thing to say, take Open Sesame, da 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 da, and then re-trigger it differently. Oh, it was because here you have an orchestrated part that's done properly musician-wise, and now you have it on one key, and you know what I'm saying. You're playing around and manipulating it to making it into a whole new track. But I've had it done to me too. Someone takes my record, and it's not a great feeling. I know the feeling. You're like sitting there going,
"Oh, I hear you."
So it's a 6 in one hand, a dozen other. If the record becomes a massive hit, it's like, wow, another big one we got again. If it's something where they manipulate it to you go, this is not what we are known for, then it's tough to accept sometimes.
Yeah, it is. But I think on the educational side of that, the younger people that started coming up and listening to these songs, and their parents would say, "Hey, that's not them. Kool the Gang wrote that. Kool the Gang wrote this. Kool the Gang wrote that."
That's right.
And they think it was like, Puffy did, or this one or that one, their sample of music, it was all them. So the education helped. And you know what? It broadened our fan base. Because, we go check out Kool the Gang.
So now that you guys are not really a disco band, but I have to bring this up because I'm a disco fanatic.
Okay.
I love you guys, but check this out. So Cyanide Fever happens, right?
Right.
One of the tracks, of course, is Open Sesame.
Right.
What does that do to you with this soundtrack? We know it sells mega millions. We know that. But what does it do for the band? Did you see anything directly from it, from the success of Cyanide Fever and this crazy phenomena that happened?
Well, it took us to another level. Before, Ladies' Night, and when JT joined the band, was that, Saturday Night Fever ended up being the top-selling album in the world until Michael Jackson came about and knocked us off the box with Thriller. So that sold over 20-something million records. So that opened up the door for us too, And it was, I guess it was our answer to the dance floor. What I mean by that is, my brother, who wrote Open Sesame, and he said, well, I want to put something on the dance floor, but I want to keep the credibility Kool the Gang. So he wouldn't put the song together. And if you listen to Open Sesame, he did it on the straight, to the floor beat. But, but he kept that disco beat happening.
Right. He had the 4/4 sound and the kick drum. I remember that.
Yeah.
Right?
But you can swing that.
Yes.
It can be jazz. It can be swung as well as to the dance floor. He wanted to keep it to the dance floor. And then a lot of people said, wow, what's that? He's trying to compete with Earth, Wind, and Fire or something. He said, yeah, maybe. Listen to what we do.
So that was that your competitive band at the time? Would you say Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Well, that's what people would say. They always compare.
Let's say the people out, not you guys, but you always are. Everyone has this thing called categories, or who's the best, who's the second best. I would assume that you would say Kool the Gang, Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Main Ingredient. There was a lot of bands around that era in the 70s. Isley Brothers.
Isley Brothers, yeah. Well, the horn sound was Earth, Wind, and Fire. They had those type of intricate horn sounds, and they made it work for what they were doing musically. On the other side, on the funk side, it was George Clinton with Parliament Funkadelics.
That's right.
He came to do was real funk, yeah. And then he landed the mothership with funk.
So are you guys, DJs, producers, and remixers do this all the time? We're checking out what's going on around us. At the time when this was all going out, were you guys scouting around looking how the other bands are playing to see what you can do to maybe make the adjustments so that you stood out or stood ahead of everyone else? Because you can't help being competitive too. We're all in the same game, but we want to be the best at what we do. Would you guys be doing that as well?
Yeah, we would be listening, and the fact that we recognize, the different groups that some of the other artists was doing, and but we wanted to keep the Kool the Gang sound. So whatever we did, when you hear a horn, riff, trumpet, or the trombone, trumpet. At that time, trumpet, saxophone, alto. You still knew it was Kool the Gang. So people knew if they really were following us, what our sounded like. It was that magic of the trumpet, alto, and tenor, which was Khalees, my brother, Spike Mickens, and Dennis Thomas. Yeah.
And that's what makes you guys, Kool the Gang. But then along the way, Philly International starts too in Philadelphia, which is not far from Jersey. So then you're having Earl Young playing with his MFSB band and Gamble and Huff doing their thing.
Oh, yeah.
So there's so much, pre to that, there was nothing that sounded like any of you guys before. And now all of you explode. The last thing before would be more like the Motown sound. And now you have this R&B flavor. You guys doing your thing. Earth, Wind, and Fire doing their thing. Philadelphia International's coming out with their sound. And you're having this, what I would say, a black explosion of R&B dance. R&B, maybe dance music, but more categorized R&B. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the 70s go on, and I do know that you try to lock into disco when disco happened. Tell us that experience for you guys, because there was a lot going on. You're coming off the high of Open Sesame and all that, and then we're getting towards the end of the 70s, and disco is the mainstay. What do you do to encapsulate that sound to what you're doing at that time?
Well, also during that time, you had Michael Jackson and the Jacksons, and we were out on tour with the Jacksons. And Dick Griffey from Solar Records, he was one of the promoters. He used to promote shows. He had this record company. He had Solar Records and, Shalimar, et cetera, et cetera. So he came to us. He said, listen, you guys are doing a great job on the tour. He said, but I think you need a lead singer. And we said, well, you do? He said, yeah, I think you guys need a lead singer. So we thought about it. And at that time, we said, well, Earth, Wind, and Fire, they have Maurice White, Philip Bailey, Commodores, had a lot of Richie. So maybe it's time for us to make a move.
Right.
And that's when we decided to get the lead singer. And J.T. Taylor with House of Music, back at the House of Music, was working over there on the project. And he was introduced to us. And Jameer Diodato was there working with us. We were working on.
Wait, let me show you Diodato. That's Diodato.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So that's when we decided to get a lead singer. Now, I have been hanging out in New York Studio 54,
Ah,
Eugene's,
okay.
and my wife and I. And you couldn't get in. No, let me go back. Every weekend was ladies' night, you know? And so I went back to the guy and said, I got a great idea, you know, a song. He said, what? I said, ladies' night. They said, wow, that's one of those everywhere. So my brother said, wow, there's a ladies' night everywhere in the world. George Brown had been working on the track, and we called that track that he was working on Ladies' Night. And that was our first record with JT. And that's how we kind of slipped out of there, because also, as you know, there was an anti-disco movement going on.
Oh,
He
yes.
was burning records in Chicago, and the rock guys were saying, what kind of music is this?
No more Bee Gees. No more Bee Gees songs.
so anyway, that's when we came up with Ladies' Night and Ladies' Night out.
Can I ask, how did
Frankie Crocker broke that record. Here's another guy. Frankie Crocker broke that record in New York, and the rest is history.
how did you find JT Taylor?
JT, well, we were involved with another manager. The name was Val Hackins. And Val Hackins knew the people at the House of Music. And JT was with a group over in Hackensack. And the owners, Charlie Conrad of House of Music, recommended him. So he came to the studio, and my brother asked him, well, let me hear you sing something. So my brother started playing some jazz progression. Sing to that. Then he started playing some funk. He said, sing to that. So, and JT came through. And then he told JT, you remind me of a young Nat King Cole. He said, oh. But when you listen to Too High, some of the stuff that JT did, you know. But that's how he came down. And then we went on and recorded the Ladies' Night album.
Here's the thing. You're working with D-Dollar, so you're bringing the songs to him, and then he's picking out which ones to go with for the albums? Or are you guys picking it out and working with him to refine it? How does that work?
No, we picked out the song, and then we had him sing the song. But he started becoming a part of our writing team. You know, he co-wrote some of the songs with my brother and the rest of the band. No, but we would pick out the songs.
Cool. And then, of course, from there, the biggest one, first one breaks out that's huge is the Celebration, right? Am I wrong?
Absolutely. Well, let's start back with Ladies' Night.
Yeah, go ahead.
We were out at the American Music Awards, and we had won 2 American Music Awards.
Let me show that picture. I have it. I think I have one. That's it.
Oh, no, there it is.
Yeah, I found it. I got it. American Music Awards. There it is.
Yeah, well, you see that award in my hand. So anyway, my brother said, you know what? In the Ladies' Night, that's another song. He said, this is your night tonight. Come on, let's all celebrate. He said, that's another song. So he put the track together when we got back, and it had that kind of down home groove to it, you know, remind you of baby grandma and grandpa down in Birmingham, Alabama, sipping on some lemonade and rocking in the rocking chair. So we came up with a very simple groove and hook that became Celebration. Then we threw Yahoo in there. So I guess we grabbed the Middle West when we did that. It became such a big record. It's still our biggest record today.
And accepted in the Library of Congress, correct?
Yes.
And can you tell
last year?
Yeah. Can you tell people what that means when it's accepted to that level?
Well, I was told that means America has accepted you. We talk about in the Library of Congress, along with a lot of other big artists who have been accepted into the Library of Congress. That was a great thing for us.
Oh, yeah. It's a staple.
Yeah. But not only that, up at the space station, the astronauts got up one night, day, night, it's all the same up there. And they played Celebration. They used to get up to Celebration. So Celebration made it to the space station.
Wow.
And of course, you know all the other things about Mitzvah, Super Bowl, World Series, Return to the Hostages from Iran. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah, that song is in thousands of commercials, thousands of adverts, thousands of this. I mean, it's a song that it's what we call a standard.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that song. I don't care what language you're in. They know, they hear the
Celebration. Even the Muppets did it. So all the kids started like, oh, who's that? What's that song they doing, Daddy? It's Kool the Gang Celebration. Oh, the Muppets made that? Oh.
That's how you know you really got a song that's not just a commercial hit, but a song that becomes everything. You know, you know, every time you turn the radio on, you hear that song, and I don't think it'll ever go away. And to have something in your catalog of that magnitude, God bless. Wow.
Well, that's a blessing. We're thankful for that. You know, to have the celebration. You know, with all the other hits that we have, celebration still stands out there, and you know, we've been blessed with quite a few different. You look at Cherish, or you look at Fresh, Reggae Dance, you get down on it, Ladies Night.
I mean, you guys were a hit machine. You know, in the 80s, a lot of things changed. Like even other bands like Chicago that were, you know, like a big rock sound in the 80s became a very mellow, sort of synthy sounding band from when you hear them in the 70s. And even though you guys are horn based and everything in the 70s, when you hear the 80s, it's controlled. It's a different sound. It was perfect for the dance floor. It was commercial. Did you ever say to yourselves, what the hell, why are we doing this? Because coming from where you were in the 70s with that, you know, those jazz sounds, the horn section was very in front. You know, when you hear the 80s, it's, like I said, it's more synthy sounding, more controlled, and the lead singer takes a big presence where the 70s
had a lot to do with it. We didn't have a lead singer in the 70s. But when we got into the 80s, that's when JT joined the band. And Diodalo, he used to say, listen, you guys got to make room for the lead singer. You have the lead singer now. Because we were just playing to all the tracks, you know, all different horn lines. No, you got to back that up. And that's what's his production quality. He opened the track up for JT to do his lead. And it still had enough identity in the song for Kool the Gang. Ladies Night. You heard his voice, but you heard that's Kool the Gang. So it was bringing together the new sound of Kool the Gang with lead vocals.
How long did JT stay with you?
10 years. Yeah, he came in 72 and he left in 82. Not 72, he came in 79 and left in 89. Yeah, he came in
72. He was with you 79 to 89?
Yeah, about 10 years.
Is he missed, or did it feel amicably both sides, where you both said, you know?
Well, he had some problems with management, and then he wanted to kind of go out there on his own and see what he can do. And yeah, he was missed at the time, but it opened up the door for us to expand our marketplace in Europe. We went on to go to other places that we had played, you know, deeper into Italy, going into Spain. We played in Yugoslavia, Potsdam, Romania, Budapest, Bulgaria. We started building our marketplace around the world, and that's what we have today. You know, we have, you know, when he left, but he came back. You know, he came back for 5 more years. He came back from 1995 to 1999. Sound like Prince, right? Yeah, he came back.
He did come back.
Yeah, and we did one album together, Oh, we did 2 albums. Might have been two. I'm not sure. But yeah, he came back and then he left again. 1999. So that was it.
Who handles who handles the lead vocals now for the band?
We have our lead singer is a guy by the name of Sean McQuilla. We call him Shawnee Mac. And then we have had different people doing different songs. Like my last album, Perfect Union, we have a guy by the name of Walt Anderson. He's singing on that. I don't know if you heard the song Pursuit of Happiness. That's Walt. And we have several tracks on that. Now, we have a new album that's going to come out in April. And we have a single that just came out about a month ago, Let's Party. And we have Walt singing on that a little bit, Sean McQuilla. And we have one other gentleman, our guitarist, so he's doing some lead parts, maybe Rick Marcel. That's what we have right now.
Oh, wow. And how and when we go back to touring, what's your tour schedule look like from now to the end of the year? Are we pretty packed up again? Are you back to you?
Yeah, we're getting there. Pretty busy. I mean, I think I mentioned we did 18 shows to German Philharmonic Orchestra. We're pretty busy. We're working on a residency in Westgate, at the Westgate. Matter of fact, we'll be there next month. We did 4 shows already there. Next month, 2 more, 6. Then we're doing 2 more in May. And we're looking at the possibility of doing a residency there at Westgate in Vegas.
Awesome. And I also noticed your son is a major force too, Hakeem.
Yeah, DJ Prince Hakeem.
Yes. Tell us, what is this man, this powerhouse, Hakeem? I know he's behind some of your stuff, but what's he up to now?
Well, he's DJing now, but every now and then he'll pick and choose to come out on the stage with us because, over the years he would come out and rap on Jungle Boogie,
right,
and Celebration. So now that he's doing this DJ thing, actually I'm working on some of the shows. Hakeem opened the show up for us at the DJ. Yeah. And then we go into our thing and then he come out and do his rap. So that's kind of nice for him.
Wow. That's what I call fan. And I know you're also a widow as well. And I know you're carrying Sakina Bell's memory in many different ventures. I saw that in the vignettes as well. I saw her name mentioned.
Yeah, she came up with the Cool Kids Foundation. And she had a problem. How come they don't have music in the schools anymore?
Oh, yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah. So we put together the Cool Kids Foundation, and we did a tour. I came up with the idea called "It's Cool to Stay in School," and we did 42, 43 cities. And one of the criteria was that we would do a meet and greet. And, the afternoon before the show, you come to, the meet and greet and we sign autographs and caps and T-shirts, that kind of a thing. And so we were in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So these 4 young students came up to us and said, we good in school, we don't play hooky and all that stuff. We're doing quite well, but we want to sing something for you. So they went on to sing about 4 songs in a cappella. And so my cousin, Dell, who was the manager, he said, well, hey, they sound great. He said, I'm going to get that number. So brought to New York, and his brother Royal had him working with music with them. And then the new Jack City movie came out. Okay. And we named the group Color Me Bad. And we didn't put their picture on the album because we just wanted them to deal with Color Me Bad. And they didn't know if they were black, white, or whatever. All we said was Color Me Bad. And you know what happened after that. But that tied in from the school thing, from Cool Kids, what my wife was doing. And Color Me Bad came a huge act.
Big time.
Yeah.
And you found them and made this all come together. Wow. See, nobody sees.
We were the guys. Listen, we was the guys that was behind the scenes. You know. Also, my brother worked with the Fugees. Fugees came from my camp. Also, Pink came from my camp as well. A lot of people don't know that. That all came from the Kool camp. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. See, I didn't even know that I didn't know Pink came from the Kool camp.
Oh yeah.
How did we find the Pink?
Well, her name wasn't Pink in the beginning.
Right.
They changed the name to Pink, and they saw that she was like the star. I'm trying to remember the other two girls that was in the group with the facial record and LA Babyface. I think your real singer is first name. It was Pink anyway. And so he said, let's work something out with the other two girls. And we need to focus on her. And that's when they changed their name. She changed her name to Pink, and the rest is history.
So did you guys do the first album for her? The first two albums? Did you produce?
First album. We worked with them first album.
Wow, congrats on that too. See everyone, this is why I say, unless we hear it from you, we don't really know. You know, you don't really know those tidbits. They're not really pushed forward. Like, oh, it came from the Kool camp, or this person was discovered, Color Me Bad. That's incredible. But look, you know, as they say, talent knows talent.
That's great.
Sniff it right out.
It is what it is. So,
the highest point of your career, Mr. Kool, what would you say? The highest point?
Well,
oh, one of the
several highest point. I think a couple of things. One was playing with Elton John at Wembley Stadium, big festival up there. That was a high point in my career. Another one was playing in Kenya for AIDS awareness. We do 500,000 people came, and it was backed by GlaxoSmithKline to try, to help the AIDS problem in Kenya. That was definitely a high point. And from the other side of the fence,
okay,
other high points was 48 shows, with Van Halen, 10 shows with Kid Rock,
yeah,
Dave Matthews Band, a couple shows with Dave Matthews, Rod Stewart. I mean, that part of it, they don't even know.
Wait. How does that work? Because Van Halen's like a major rock band.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews, alternative rock.
Yeah.
The Gang, black R&B. How does that? What you guys?
When that came down, okay, we're playing for the Glastonbury Festival.
Yes, in England.
And that week I had Coldplay and U2, all the various groups for that big festival. So David Lee Roth happened to see us on the BBC. And he said, So he calls up Eddie and Alex. He said, I found the support band. I want to go out with me. See, because he was coming back. He had left.
Right. Yeah.
He was rejoining the band for a tour. And so they said, well, who? He said, Kool the Gang. He said, Kool the Gang?
That's what I said. I said, Kool.
Yeah, what have you been smoking, man? What's going on? Kool the Gang? He said, yeah, Kool the Gang. They just rocked the Glastonbury Festival. He said, you guys forget. Back in the day, we used to play ladies' night. Not ladies' night. We used to play funky stuff, jungle boogie, out there on the West Coast. They played our music. So he told me, he said, listen, you guys have Celebration, and we have Jump, yes. And he said, so let's go out and have a party. And that's how it happened, just like that. We went to 46.
Wow. Jesus. Now, of course, I have to hit you with the high point, and I'm going to put the question like this. Any regrets that you would say I would do that over, or in the long career that you've had with this and still going on with?
No regrets. I have a saying. It goes like this: you live and learn, and then you learn to live. So you go through it. You go through the various things. I started when I was 14 years old, coming up in this business, Youngstown, trying to make my way to the hood, and on and on and on. But it was a good learning lesson. Different managers, record company not doing the right things from time to time. And all that.
Yeah, of course.
So I had to live that. And I learned that. I don't think I would have had it any other way. Because I went there, like a roller coaster ride. There was times when people counted us out. I remember being in Jersey City, and they looked at us, you guys still together?
Don't you love hear something like, yeah.
How you like me now?
How you like me now? Right, exactly.
But I mean, no, the way it came down, it's and also for the future, because a lot of things, I won't do anymore. Or we won't do anymore. We won't do anymore. You go through it. You know more about publishing, you know more about writing, you know about how to cut your deals with the record company, and
that's right,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Learning about, like we all had to learn about that word streaming.
Yeah,
the whole new way of physical copies are not the way anymore. It's the streaming world now. It's like, what's the stream? In the beginning, I think everybody was like, what? We're not selling physical no more? No.
I said the same thing, and I still say it to some degree. I said, I come from the days when you had vinyl. If you sold 1 million records, if you got $1 record, you made $1 million.
Right, exactly.
Platinum or whatever. But stream what? What are we streaming? Who is it good old? Bring me back to good old days. I know I do 1 million records, I got $1 million.
Well, that's the thing.
Streaming, though, there's a lot of money in streaming. You got to stream a hell of a lot to get money.
Yeah, like 100 million streams to make that same money you got to make. But how do you accept that fact? What do you do? Do you just put on blinders? What do you do there?
I have to have people around me that understand more about the streaming side, because I'm not really into the streaming side. But, there's money there, money being made. I guess when you're streaming, people know about you. You can raise your price for live concerts. That's one of the things that some people do. Hey, if I get X amount of streams, I'll send more people. I'll raise my dollar price and put more people in the seats.
That's where it changes on the live. So the old way used to be you would tour to support the album. Now it's the opposite.
Now you got to stream to support the show.
Right. And right. Used to be you'd be out there to make that album go gold, platinum, and go.
Right.
Now you're doing reverse psychology. You make more money at the gate, but you don't make the same money on the physical side. Sometimes depends.
Well, it's the way because with new technology, iPhones, social media, and that whole thing. Although I'm hearing, I don't know how strong it's going to be. They say the vinyl is slowly coming back.
I keep hearing that too, but would it ever be where we remember it?
Say again?
Do you think it'll ever be where we experienced that amount of having a gold record on an actual piece of vinyl or a platinum record? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, because people, it's so like, look, this phone thing and playing your music is so easy now. I don't see everybody going, okay, right, let me go out and get a turntable and I could see a niche crowd. I don't think everyone's going to do that. It's just not the way.
No, things have changed. I was told many years ago when they were talking about iPhones.
Now, wait, how did you feel when they said to you, we're going to start using this new form of thing called CDs? Do you remember that when that started?
Yeah, after that, CDs turn around to do good, but at least you got paid.
Right.
But that the iPhone, this is going to take over the industry. You're going to be able to do everything on the iPhone. So
You
these
already are.
companies are making moves to getting pieces of those iPhone companies and Samsung or this company, that company. And if you look at it, they do everything with one small iPhone. You hook it up to your computers and then all that other stuff. But look where it's at now.
No. And
So
here's, yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to tell you what, we're almost there. We're almost to the point where you're doing everything on the phone. We're not that far. You're going to be buying, selling,
everything.
investing. You don't need a computer, a smartphone.
Smartphone, iPhone. But you know what? The good thing about it is that iPhone can't get on that stage and do a show.
That's what I want to ask you. That's
Yeah.
that's
Those who can still do shows, that's our blessing now. Get out there and do a hell of a concert. People just want to have fun. You just can't. iPhones is great to promote it, but you got to be able to get on that stage and really make it happen.
yeah, because people want to see the actual real thing. You can't, you can't stream that.
No,
See you do. Did you ever think back in 64, 69, even 70 that you would still be going strong like this now and never think to stopping ever?
well, in '64 when we first started, it was just coming out of high school and just having fun and about the music because I used to go back and to the Apollo Theater and I saw the Temptations or Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, or to go see James Brown. I said, wow, it's great to be a star. Never knowing that one day I would be on that stage and people would be looking at me saying the same thing. You see, so that's a blessing within itself. So I'm happy to be here, happy to be around. And God has blessed us, and we're moving forward.
Stay in it. Stay home. Yeah. Well, we can't say thank you enough for joining us and giving us a history lesson and behind the scenes to what the Kool Camp is really about. And of course, everyone. Now, this champagne, can they get that here in the stateside in America?
Yeah. Well, where are you? What city are you in?
I'm in New York.
Yeah, you can get in New York. Right now, we have 9 states because everything you have to get a license in each state. So you can get it in New York, New Jersey, Georgia, Florida, Ohio, Tennessee, and now we have Vegas. So we get ready to rock Vegas.
All right.
So get ready for your Kool champagne. And we'll be there Super Bowl weekend. We're gonna be.
Are you performing? Are you performing anywhere on that weekend?
Yeah, at the Westgate in Vegas.
Sorry, I did hear you say Westgate.
Yeah, we're going to Westgate, and we have distribution now. Franco Wines is our distributor there in Vegas.
And this may be where you're going to be doing your residency, right?
Right, exactly.
How often?
Well, it depends on how they come back. Right now, we did 4 shows already. Next month will be 6. May will be 8. Now they're talking about expanding. That's how Barry Manilow held that house down for years after. Of course, that was the house of the late Elvis Presley when it was the Hilton Hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah.
And now you may be today's Elvis Presley holding it down every week soon. But this is the last thing I had to ask. Would you rather be a resident at one place than doing touring all over the place?
I like both. I like to have a residency where, you do, a couple months in and then you can get out of there for a couple months. I wouldn't want to be locked down for the whole year. I like to be able to go in and out. And you're starting to see that now with these artists who have residencies. They open up the door for other artists to come in now. They're not trying to stay there for 6 months to a year.
I think it does something to you. I think it stagnates you after a while, being in the same place doing show after show. I think it's nice to walk into a new venue somewhere and just have that fresh, moment where you create something maybe different than you did somewhere else. Because when you do a show every week or a few nights a week at a residency, you start to kind of get maybe mundane and bored, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, we gotta get out and see the world a little bit. Man. Stay in Vegas. I gotta stay away from the damn crap tables. Man, I'll be broke. Anyway, that's a joke for me. But
what's the job of a U.S. ambassador? I know you're U.S. ambassador to Africa, right?
Yeah, we work on a few things. Yeah, with the AU, announcing me to be a music ambassador to the AU, and we got various projects that we're doing in Africa. I've been going to Africa for over 30 years. And doing some things up in the Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls. That's one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yes.
Not one of the 7, the pyramids, and Cairo in Egypt. So we're moving this year, And my thing right now is the Kool Champagne presents.
Oh, is that how it's going out? The Kool Champagne presents?
Yeah, that's how we moving. The Rock the World tour.
Rock the World tour. You heard that, everyone. You stay on Kool and the Gang. They're hotter than ever. They're hotter than ever, and they're going to come to a city near you. Keep an eye on them, because this show is watched around the world. We got a lot of people from the UK watching right now as well, because we have a big following over there too. And they were actually writing, they saw you in this past summer. Some people were writing.
Oh yeah, we're going back. We're going back. We got three festivals in June right now in the UK.
All right. Mr. Kool, thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to say to you, never stop what you love doing, because you are the man and a master of the game. You get 11 out of 10 from me. I'm one of your biggest fans. I know many others are. You got millions of fans around the world. We don't ever want you to stop, because I've seen you on stage. You are a powerhouse. You rock that bass. I mean, I forgot to ask this. Did you ever have musical training playing the bass? Because I know you just picked it up and started playing. Were you formally trained at all?
No, I picked it up and started playing, like you said.
Really?
Listening to Motown, listening to Jamerson, listening to from the jazz side. The first time I played the bass, I was in I'm trying to think place down in New York downtown.
Cafe Wah, right?
Cafe Wah. And I learned how to play one song from Spike Mickens' brother's guitar. And that was Coming Home Baby. And you can play it all on one string. So that night, my brother said, man, why don't you just pick up the bass and play that one song Coming Home Baby. And that's what I did. I was able to play the whole song on one string. And that was the beginning.
To never end. Yes, wow. Sir. Thank you, Mr. Kool. Everyone, next week, don't go anywhere yet. We have Miss Melba Moore coming on next week. Don't miss that as well. Make sure you pick up This Man's Champagne. It's as fun, as great champagne should ever be. La Kool. And it's me, Lenny Fontana. Good night, everyone. And thank you for tuning in to True House Stories. And Mr. Kool, you stay super cool. Never stop being cool.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.